It's plugging into the new normal. And the new normal is health, wealth, and success. So what we're saying is that the normal state of human condition is supposed to be health, wealth, and success. Now, we remember the idea, so how could that all work? Well, what if everybody in the whole world wanted a Bentley? Well, I guarantee you, everybody in the whole world doesn't want a Bentley. So that's how that works, is that our version of wealth is personal. What's my idea of wealth? What's important to me? And you might have noticed in the course of your life that your own idea of wealth has changed many, many times. What you thought was important, some material thing you thought you had to have, then maybe you got it and realized it wasn't that important, or maybe this desire for it just went away and you went, I don't even care about that anymore. Because our idea of wealth is our idea of wealth, and that's the way it works in a world of harmony and synchronicity, is everybody's idea of wealth works in synchronicity with everybody else's idea of wealth. But again, what that's going to require is that I become in tune with what is authentic to me. Yes? In order for me to have my idea of wealth, I'm going to have to know what's authentic to me. Isn't that correct? So what we learn is that this plugging into the new normal requires just exactly that we need a different kind of mindset. And the model we've been using is that here is my PC, and my PC has information in it that I have put in it. And it holds the amount of memory, so long as the memory is long enough, it will hold information that I put into it, yes? However, if I want new information or current information, like for example, I wanted to know what time the championship football game started today, I didn't have that knowledge, and my computer did not have that knowledge. However, if I uplinked the computer, that knowledge was available, yes? So what we're beginning to realize is that human beings are actually wired for God. They're wired to be uplinked. And the question is, uplinked to what? Now, the actual answer to that question, uplinked to what, is uplinked to your own soul. And what we realize is that your own soul is identified by some very powerful words. Everybody say, I am.
I am.
So you just identified so now touch your heart center and say, I am.
I am.
Now become aware of your body as you touch your heart center and say, I am. I am. So you have a body, yes?
Yes.
So that's a true statement, I am. But do I have a part of me that is larger than my body or greater than my body or beyond time and space than my body? Yes? We all begin to believe, as we grow, we begin to believe that I came from somewhere and I'm going somewhere. So there means there's a part of me that's very much alive that is non-physical. Isn't that correct? But we see that this part of me that is non-physical also takes on physical form. Does it not? So I don't know what my name was before I was Harry Morgan Moses. But I came into this lifetime as Harry Morgan Moses. But whatever my name was, I am that too. Am I not? Yes? So whatever it is that I came from goes with me wherever I'm going. Does that make sense? And you can sort of realize that wherever it is you came from came with you when you got here. And therefore, that aspect is also there for you as you go on. Hence the line that I shared earlier this morning from the Walt Whitman poem that says, no one has ever loved enough, no one has ever been devout enough, no one has ever known how glorified they all are, or how secure their future is. For if I am the beloved of the Most High, then I must have a secure future. Otherwise, I would have to be less than the beloved of the Most High, yes? So I must have a secure future, and if I knew that, how differently would I play my life out in terms of how I'm being alive? Yes? So what we realize is that the word we use is trope, a non-metaphysical word. However, it's the way that we have to do. And let me borrow Al Cid for a moment, if I may, because Al Cid's about 6 feet tall. He's a little less than 200 pounds, but I'm over 200 pounds. That's how I know the difference. But he's a strong man, right? So you're right-handed, yes? So put up your right hand and say, I am Al Cid. And I'll resist. Say, I am the beloved of the Most High.
I am the beloved of
Okay.
the Most
Say,
High.
I have the capacity to turn within.
I have the capacity to turn within.
I have the capacity to rise up.
I have the capacity to rise up.
Do you see what happened? Watch. I'll do it again. Do you see what happened? When I just passed my hand right over the top of his head, now go again. I have the capacity to rise up.
I have the
Yeah,
capacity.
see, I don't have the capacity to stop you from rising up, But because I'm a wave in the ocean, if you're a wave, I could cross your wave and create a little ripple, couldn't I? Yes? And that's very much what happens. We have people around us that create waves and ripples like everybody's making a tone from their own gong, yes? And the question is, are we being authentic to our tone, or am I being affected by all the ripples out there? Do you follow? Now, the only way that you can stay in tune with your own tone is if you turn in trope to that which is your highest self. Now, funny thing is, when we turn, what we say in our teaching is turn within. Don't we say, let's take a moment to turn within? Yeah? Now, but do you notice that also what happened to the highest most God if I turn within? It's still there, yes? Because we have come to understand that the highest most God and the innermost God is one God. Yes? But you see the difference when you take your attention and turn within? That's a moment of basically plugging in, right? You go, wait, I need to remember that I can plug into the system. And that's what we call turning trope, to turn in trope to that which is. So now let me see what's on the screen. Oh, let's go to the next one. There we go, all of those. Keep going. The list. There we go. So this thing that I'm turning to, this high part of myself, I turn by turning within. So we often say turn to your heart center. But when I turn to my heart center, so long as I'm open and realize that the highest God and the innermost God, and I'm basically plugging in the whole system. You see how that lined up with Al Cid, with his strength system when I did that? When you turn to that which is your center, you are automatically both going within and up. Do you see how that works? Which is why we call plugging in to the new normal. Because that aspect of yourself, that high self, that knows who your authentic self is. Right? So I know because so I told you some people this in class Thursday. Wednesday night, for reasons I don't know, I couldn't get my dreams to change channel. I kept waking up and say, okay, I don't like that dream anymore. I wanted it to come onto a different channel. And then I'd start to lay down, and the same dream would come back. So finally I said, wait a minute, I have to sit up, which is my version of turning to. I put my meditation chair behind me, I sit up, and I turn within, and I begin with my mantra. My mantra is, I am. And I know that the I am that I am is not only this personal self, it is also this high self. Yes? And that's how I find myself when I'm caught in the storms of my own confusion. I find myself turning to that center and plugging in so that I can get out of my own confusion. Now, the confusion is not coming from my high self. See how it's plugging up? It's plugging up so this high self can be called your Christ self. The Hindu religion called it the Atman. The Buddhist calls it the Buddha awareness. Henry David Thoreau called it the high self. So did Carl Jung. He said, what in the ultimate thing, why did he separate from Freud? He said, because in the end, I believe there really is a soul. There is a high self. And that whole Freud psychological work was about getting in touch with your soul or your authentic self as the supreme healer, the thing that heals, right? So it could be, now we could say it's the soul. Ernest understood that the soul of God and the soul of man is the same thing, that the soul of man is placed in the soul of God and is one with the eternality of God. Now, we've been studying it, but do we get it? So that's your soul, that's your high self. That's what you must always turn to. Now, does it turn away from you? Did it ever leave? Did it ever go anywhere? Right? So it's not that it ever went anywhere. I have to turn to it because it didn't go anywhere. And how do I turn to it? I turn to it by going to that place that is center. And those of us who have studied the science of mind knows that there's something called spiritual mind treatment. And spiritual mind treatment is certainly affirmative prayer that begins with the concept that God is all there is, that begins that I'm immersed in that God, and that therefore I have access to that God. So our primary tool, which is affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment, is all about turning to, isn't it?
Yes.
It's all about turning to the one. Now, so what's in the way now? Let's go back. So what's in the way when I turn to? These are the things that we teach here, because one of the things that we talk about as a way of spiritual growth is spiritual learning, right? Spiritual education. There's things that your mind needs to know because you can't go further than your own mind will let you. Turn to somebody and say, I can't go further than my own mind will let me. I can't go further than my own mind will let me. You and I are the same that way. How about that? I can't go further than my own mind will let me. How far can you go? Just as far as your mind will let you, correct? Do you see how that's universal? That belongs to everybody. You can't go further. If you don't believe it can happen, guess what? It can't happen. Right? Whoa, the possibility has to exist within you of this greater good, of this greater possibility. And as soon as you plug in, as soon as you turn to the one, you can automatically feel all your fears and doubts temporarily go away, don't they? Now, if you learned how to stay plugged in, you would find those fears and doubts would turn into hopes and dreams and aspirations. Wouldn't you rather be living in the direction of your hopes, dreams, and aspirations than running away from your fears and doubts? Do you see the difference of living? One is not really alive. One is not really living at all. Oh, if all I'm doing is chasing my fears away, I'm never going to be at peace. I'm never going to be happy. I'm never going to be fulfilled. But plugged in, that's not what happens. Plugged in, you go, how do I commune with life in a greater way? How can I talk to that rock in a greater way? How can I be in communion with that wave in a greater way? How can that starfish and I have the same life force within us? How does that raindrop come from the sky and it's part of the flow of life that's in me? It's happening all around you, and you have the right to commune with all of it. But you can't commune with any of it if you try to be a PC accessing the web with no connection. You can't, you have to have a connection. So the beginning of happiness is to work on this trope, being in tune with this I am that I am. Is that making sense? Now today is about love. Well, today is about love. Well, wait, let me remind you two things about love that are very, very important. And this is the thing that is most forgotten among people. Yes? That love is the force of the universe. The thing that makes it go is unconditional love. Love given freely, without demands, without expectations, and without seeking anything in return. God did not say, I created you as the glory of me, and you better be that. Or else. Yeah, could you imagine? Be the glory of God or else. Well, what kind of freedom is that? That's not much freedom at all, right? No, it's you are the glory of God, and you're free to discover it. And you have never left it. And you were free to go on that journey to the far country, even though you felt like you left it. You were free to go on that journey. And the moment you turn back, it has always been with you. It's not waiting for you to come home. The moment you turn back, it's there. Do you see how that works? So, two things. What we know then is the power of the system is unconditional love. Now, we talked about that last week, and you need to go back to the lesson if you need to hear it. We talked about the Aramaic language, Jesus' language. Jesus' language spoke of two kinds of love. Rachma love, which is universal love, and Kuba love, which is personal love. And what I want to remind you is that Rachma love is the power of the system. Kuba love is the Christmas presents that show up under the tree. Rachma love is the power of the system. Kuba love is the gifts that show up in your life. And so when we talk about health, wealth, love, and success, we're talking about real love means I'm at both ends of the spectrum. I am the place that is the power itself, and I am the results of that power. Wait a minute. What does that mean? Well, let me go back and say it again. Did you love the rocks that you saw this morning? I had an intention, talk about your New Year's goals. Matt, you're talking about your New Year's goals. I had an intention this year to get some more exercise during the course of the week. I had that intention. And you know what happened yesterday in the rainstorm? Rocks came down onto my driveway. Lots and lots of rocks. I picked up rocks for 45 minutes yesterday, getting a heck of a lot of exercise. Do you see, it came as a gift of intention. I didn't have to go through any trassle to do it. I had an intention, and then, whoops, look, these rocks have to be moved just so I can get out of the driveway. Wow, that was quite good. I was exhilarated after all that rock moving. Got a massage the next day. I was sore. Do you follow? It was like, wow, look at how intention takes shape when we begin to live in a plugged-in way. And I want to say, did you love the rock? Did you love the rain this morning? Did you see the way the trees are responding to the moisture? Have you looked at the green popping out all over the city? Are you noticing the aliveness that's happening in life when you begin to plug into it? Now, Ernest Holmes, the great philosopher from the last century, he says human beings have the capacity to commune with all of life. Whoa. I'm not used to that. That's a lot of juice. Whoa. Communing with all of life. Yes, communing with the wave, communing with the bird, communing with the dog, communing with the cat, communing with the rocks, communing with the bugs. It's just, you begin to start commune with all of life and you go, oh my God, my beloved. Once I plug in, I begin to see, look at this, everything's animated by you. And the thing that's animated by you is animating me. And the more I allow it to animate me, the more animated life becomes.
Amen.
Whoa, really? Wow. This is the normal health, wealth state is normal. And where does the love? Wait, let me remind you. Phyllis, did you see it came out? I got it to you in the email this week. You wanted that affirmation in the mail. Did you get it? You got it. Did you print it? You got it. There you go. Here's the affirmation. My awareness of the Christ consciousness within me, the awakened Buddha as me, the presence of God through me. One thing, my awareness is the substance and source of my good.
Yes.
My awareness, how aware are you of this one God everywhere present, distributing through itself through the one power which is the I am, which exists in all people everywhere, no matter where they came from or what language they speak. Oh my God, we're in a universal system of good. We're in a universal system of pure love. We're in a universal system that works, as you say, and Johnny Coleman said, when you work it. When you work it. But this is about the love thing, unconditional love, love given freely, without demands, without expectations, without seeking anything in return. I don't love you because I have to. I love you because it's my nature. And the more I allow my nature to flow through me, the more of it I have. And then what happens? And then what happens is, oh, well, perfect love. Dr. Harry, I don't know that you understood. I don't know that you understood my personal loneliness, my personal emptiness. I'm so alone in my life. And by perfect love, I mean I want Audrey Hepburn and Greg Peck to walk off in the sunset, and I want to be like them forever. And if you look closely at their lives, it wasn't as gorgeous as all that, right? So what we see is that this false idea of romantic love is not the real thing. You may have it as part of the journey of your love, but it's not the real thing, because love is the power itself, and it's the fruit of its own power. It's the gift of its own power. Love is the gift of its own power. So many years ago, I do a wedding ceremony, and I've done them for more than 25 years. And along the way, different couples have brought different things to me, and once in a while, something would come to me that I thought, this should just be part of what I do. And some number of years ago, 15, 20 years ago, some couple brought me this beautiful poem, which I've since included in all the weddings that I've done. The poem reads like this. Here the bonds of marriage are formed. For marriage, which is always spoken of as a bond, becomes actually many bonds, many strands of different texture and strength, making up a web that is fashioned by love. Yes, but many kinds of love. Romantic love first, then a slow growing devotion, and playing through these a constantly rippling companionship. It's made of loyalties and interdependencies and shared experiences. It's woven of memories, of meetings, of conflicts, of triumphs and disappointments. It's a web of communication, a common language, and the acceptance of a lack of language too. A knowledge of likes and dislikes, of habits and reactions, both physical and mental. It's a web of instincts and intuitions and known and unknown exchanges. The web of marriage is made by propinquity, which means the passing of time. In the day-to-day living side by side, looking outward and working outward in the same direction. It's woven in space and time, of the very substance of life. Love. The very substance of life. And many kinds of love. Romantic love, passionate love, devotionate love, companionship love, friendship love, caring love, acquaintance love. But it's all love. And out of learning how to live in love, with love, comes the benefits of love. And the benefits of love is that it goes from Rachma, which is universal, to Kuba, which is personal. I have come to know you. I have seen you through struggles. I have seen you discover new truths. I have seen you be stuck and get unstuck. I have seen you make a decision to turn toward the one. I have seen you. I have loved you. I've kissed you. I've been with you. I've seen you. And I've watched all of these different kinds of love happen. And then something happens. You go through all of that. You have children. If you're a family person and this is your path, you get married, you have that romantic love, and then you have children. Then you had that romantic love, you thought there couldn't be anything more, and then the child comes, and then there's something more. And then if it's yours to do, a second child will come, and then there's still more. And then your parents become in love with your children, and now you're in love with your parents because they were in love with you, but even more because they're in love with your children. And now your parents become sacred love, and they were always sacred love, but a different kind of love. And your wife is now sacred love, but she's not only your wife, but she's the mother of the house, and it's a different kind of love. And then you have the children, and then that's an entirely different love. And you have the love for your firstborn daughter, you think you could never love more, and then you have your firstborn son, and you think you could never love more. And then you have your firstborn grandchild, and you think you could never, ever love more. And then there's another grandchild. And then you go, where is this love coming from? How do I have so much of it? How can I not circumscribe it? It's too big. It's too wonderful. I don't even know where it's coming from. Because I can hold the 12-year-old who says, what do you think, Harry Mo? And beautiful Phoebe Ann, who's turning into a young woman at 12, almost 13. And what do you think, Harry Mo? And the Grandpa, look here, I got it, come with me. And then the next one just smiles at you, and the next one just holds you in its heart. And you're wondering, where does this love, how does it end? And the answer is, it doesn't end. And the qualities of it can become deeper and more profound and richer than you've ever imagined. And it all comes back, well, then do I have to be committed to the loving of you? No. I have to be committed to the loving of love. And the more I commit to the loving of love, the more fruits of love I get in my life. And the bird loves me. And the cat loves me. And the dogs love me. And the grandkids love me. And where am I in this? Just beginning to touch unlimited love. And to see that this power, that this presence, that this gift is not only what I get, it's how I do it. The power of unconditional love. Uh-oh. But if there's going to be unconditional love, then I'm going to have to give up something. If there's unconditional love, what do I have to give up? The conditions of my love. I don't love you because you did, or because you didn't, or because you have, or because you haven't. I love you because my God has shown me that his entire cosmos and all that I am is based in love. And that I cannot be a human being fully alive until I'm a human being who can fully love. And when I really get that, the walls come down. The need to defend goes away. And all that's left is a compassionate heart. A vulnerable, open, exposed, compassionate heart. And the world says, well, you can't live that way in the world. And the Buddha says, yes, you can. And the Christ says, yes, you can. And Mother Teresa said, yes, you can. And Gandhi said, yes, you can. And Mandela said, yes, you can. And the hands and feet have shown up to pure love to show us the way. We now know the way. I am the way, the light, and the truth. And love is the power, and love is the gift. And today, in a new way, in the midst of the pouring down of rain, where there was before a drought, I say I will embrace love as the way I choose to live my life. And I will embrace forgiveness, for there's only one way to live with unconditional love, and that's to live with a heart of forgiveness. And so for all the confusion in the world, I cancel all the demands and expectations, and I send you my love. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're facing the most difficult challenge you've ever faced, or whether you're looking at a greater good than you've ever embraced before, I can tell you this for sure. Everything's going to work out just fine. And I'll give you an addendum. P.S. I love you. And I invite you to think on these things as together we explore the possibilities. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So I guess this is mine to treat in. Treat simply means affirmative prayer, means to use the power of love and God in a particular way. Tomorrow, we start this 8-week class. 8 weeks will take us to March. We've already done 4 weeks as of next week. That's how fast it goes by. This thinking that Thomas Troward brought forth is the logic of New Thought, the logic of mental science. And once you get your own mind to agree and to understand it, your belief system will help you grow much, much faster. Yes? Because you'll get your false beliefs out of the way and be able to see why you're standing in the truth you're standing in. Yes? So if you haven't considered coming to the class, get this book today. You're only invited to read the first 9 pages. You won't, unless you're familiar with this work, 9 pages will seem like an awful lot of words, but we'll take them down and help you to understand them. That's what the class is all about. So we're looking forward to you being with us in class as we go forward, beginning tomorrow night. So here we go. Let's turn our attention to that which is the one presence, the one power, and the one life. One perfect love. And I know that it's perfect because if I let go of all my own self-doubts and all my fears and all my guilt and just become present to the moment, what I recognize is that the life force itself is loving me, for it's beating the heart within me. It is the source of the consciousness that moves through me. And it must love me because it's doing it all by itself. I'm not doing it. It's being done unto me. And so I accept this love in a whole new way. And I invite this love to move through my perspective and my consciousness that I may see it in a new way, that I may commune with it in a new way, that I may be an instrument of it in a new way, and that in so doing my life will become more personal, more intimate, more alive, more awake, more aware, and more in tune than I've ever known before. For this is the way of the I am, and I am is the way, the life, and the truth. And for this good permeating and penetrating my awareness, and therefore causing me to be born anew, to be fresh in this day, to be alive in a new way right now. For this great and wonderful good, I give deep and profound thanks. And I let go, and I let God, and I allow it to be. As together we declare, and so it is. Thank you.